we don't have a ton of clarity on the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, as both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields have had some struggles. And Mike Tomlin talked about Russell Wilson's preseason debut after the game. Take a listen.
It's somewhat of an incomplete study because you just don't get a chance to see him operate or us establish rhythm and personality when you're not winning possession downs. And we weren't. The first 3 or so series of the game, it was, 3 and out, and you're not going to get an opportunity to establish rhythm or play the way that you would like as an individual or a collective.
Matthew, when does this situation start to become a concern for not these guys, but a George Pickens, the run game a little bit, Pat Freiermuth to an extent? It just looks ugly under center again in Pittsburgh.
And I think when does it become a concern, I think, is 2 months ago when about these moves happened.
And didn't have a better solution?
I guess like the other option was like Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett. So
they've got 2 upgrades on both of those
no
guys,
and
they're still bad.
Yeah.
They're both better than the previous guys, and
it's
still not working.
I'm nervous about this offense. I'm nervous. Let me rephrase that. I'm nervous about the passing offense of the Steelers for a variety of reasons. Obviously, not just uninspiring to date quarterback play, but also just knowing who. Again, we have a lot of fun at Arthur Smith's expense, but the fact is that he has been throughout his career, whether it's an offensive coordinator or a head coach, and now he's back to being the OC, he's been very run heavy. That has been sort of his MO. And I don't expect that to change. And nothing that we saw from the quarterback play this weekend makes you think like, we got to certainly lighten it up. Especially when you think about it gets thin quick after George Pickens in the pass catches. You got Freiermuth at the tight end position, but we excited about Calvin Austin? I'm in a couple of best ball drafts right now where I'm seeing people draft Justin Fields late. I don't mind that because, again, in a best ball, if Justin Fields rips off an 80-yard, rushing touchdown, right,
yes,
1,000%. He's fine as a QB3 flyer in best ball, but otherwise, I just don't want this quarterback room.
You know what it means? It's a big season coming for Najee Harris.
It really does, though, especially with the other news, Jay, that Jaylen Warren's going to miss a couple weeks with a hamstring injury now.
You know what Arthur Smith is going to do? Looks as these quarterbacks, no good. Najee, good.
25 carries.
Big-bodied back. He's going to get a lot of work early in the season. And being real, Najee Harris, I think, is going to have a good year. And I think he's going to overperform expectations. He's going as RB25 at the moment in the same range as your Tony Pollards. I'd rather have Najee Harris. I think that in this offense, he's going to look like the guy closer to the guy that they drafted in the first round.
Yeah, I got a crazy reaction for you. I agree.
Yeah.
I
was a year early. Better to be a year early than a year late.
That's 1,000% fair. I don't think it's going to be particularly efficient, but you know what? If he gets 3.3 yards per carry, that doesn't matter for your fantasy league. Just the fact that he gets 22 touches and he falls into the end zone. I am with you. They are going to run Najee Harris into the ground, both because that's how Arthur Smith is, because of the Jaylen Warren situation, and also the struggles so far of their passing attack. I agree with you that Najee Harris is a very unsexy pick that no one in your draft will be like, oh, Najee Harris. He's basically a rich man's Ezekiel Elliott this year.
Jay wouldn't react that way. Let's be fair. Jay would be like, oh, nice pick.
I was super happy to snaffle him in the 6th round last year.
But
Najee Harris was a top 20 running back last year. Now, he was 20th. So test the bounds. And also, he was only top 20 because he played every single game and averaged 9.8 points per game. But still, he was in the top 20.
But he doesn't really get hurt. No. There's a consistency there. And again, he is, he's going to be Tyler Algier for when Arthur Smith was the Falcons pre-Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
He's going to be Tyler Algier for them. And Tyler Algier had a perfectly fine season.
Over 1,000 rushing yards as a rookie.
Yeah, I agree with you. Najee Harris is a completely unsexy value this year.
So we brought up Jaylen Warren's hamstring injury. Let's look at some other notable injuries along with Warren's right now. Jahmyr Gibbs still dealing with that hamstring strain. Jordan Addison with an ankle. Hollywood Brown, we know he's got a significant injury that's going to keep him out for a little bit here. Josh Downs with a higher ankle sprain. That's a significant one as well. And then DeAndre Hopkins, Matthew, dealing with a knee. So plenty of skill position injuries already.
Yes, but there's some optimism out of Tennessee about DeAndre Hopkins being ready for the season.
He should be good to go.
And that's another guy, again, I think similar to Najee Harris, which is just like DeAndre Hopkins going like wide receiver 40.
Yeah.
I think he is still on a talent level. I think he is still a top 12 wide receiver in the NFL in terms of just actual talent. Like, I don't think he's toast at all. Like, he made plays last year. The quarterback play was completely inconsistent, but they're going to be a much more high-octane pass-first offense this year in Tennessee. And I know everyone's excited about Calvin Ridley, but DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that also – the other thing about Hopkins is that even if you feel like he's lost a step, I don't know that it matters with Hopkins, because Hopkins is not one of those guys that needs to be open to come down with the ball. Like, he can have a guy draped all over him, and he's still coming down with the ball. Just throw it somewhere in his radius, and Hopkins will come down with it. So I think he's actually, because of the injury and because it's, he's been around for a while, and, there's excitement about Ridley, and we just don't know what we're going to get out of Will Levis. I think DeAndre Hopkins is a value this year. Last thing here, very quickly, positive news coming out of San Francisco about Christian McCaffrey return to practice, looking quote-unquote spry. We haven't seen him in game action yet, but certainly feels like he's clearly on track to start the season healthy and, worthy of the number 1 overall pick. He's my number 1 overall this year, like everyone else.
So that's the significant news from week 2 of the preseason.
Okay, you have a chance to win $1 million in the NBC sweepstakes on Yahoo Fantasy. Just download the redesigned Yahoo Fantasy app or go to NBCSports.com/fantasymillion for additional details. What are you waiting for? Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.